I'm going to talk about NuGet. I know it's been a long day, and I want to thank you all for staying to the last session. And because you've been so kind to stay to the last session, all the people who left earlier don't get this little gift I have for you, which is, you see on my laptop I have a little NuGet sticker, so it goes like that. So hopefully this is enough. If it's not enough, if anybody doesn't get one that wants one, I will borrow against Brazil, sorry. But can you pass these out? Half and half, here you go. So you'll have to, nice catch. So a little gift from me to you for bearing with me and listening to me talk all day long. So it's kind of you guys are all bathed in blue, it's really cool. So what's my goal here? Is it world domination? No, I know Microsoft of the past has been known to go after this sort of world domination, but that's not my goal. Ultimately, my goal is I would really like it if the .NET platform was the best developer platform for developers. Or in Espanol, what is it? Matador? No. Okay. So the question is, how do we do that? How do I make .NET the best platform for .NET developers? And in my mind, the answer is I need to build up the ecosystem. I mean, not I build up the ecosystem. We need to build up the ecosystem. So there are roughly, I don't know the exact numbers, but I've heard numbers thrown around like over 2 million .NET developers, or 2 million, 2 million .NET developers, or ASP.NET developers. So don't quote me on that. I know I'm being recorded. But I don't know the exact number, but there's over 2 million .NET developers. And the fact of the matter is, we are not going to be able to, we as in Microsoft, cannot meet every single developer's needs for their day-to-day business, right? We can't write every single library out there. We can't go deep on every single vertical that exists, right? So ultimately, the way that people are going to get code that solves their needs is if they either A, write it themselves, or get connected with someone else who's written the same code because they've solved the same problem. And that's really what I want to solve. And so I was thinking, we had this meeting, and our Scott Guthrie, corporate vice president, says we need a package manager. So I said, okay, I'll go figure that out. So went to the drawing boards, and I thought about what does it take today to get a third-party library into my project. Now I have a lot of experience with this because I've done .NET development for a very long time, and in my spare time I do open source development, and I like to use all these really cool third-party open source libraries that are out there. And so I looked at an example of using Elma, because I thought, you know what, Elma is like one of the simplest libraries to use. It's a DLL, you get it and you use it, right? It doesn't have any dependencies on any other things. But let's walk through the story of what that looks like. So first, like all good stories, it starts with a Bing search. And you're laughing. And in this case, the name of the project is unique enough that, okay, it's the first result. But you could imagine if I had a really generic name, you'd have to go digging through and trying to find it. So yeah, so far so good. So here's the project homepage on Google.com. And so you got to know to click the download tab, and hey, there's 3 releases. Which one do I install into my system? Well, I'm running an x64 machine, so you would think it would be You would think it would be the one I clicked, but it's wrong. It's actually this other one that I need installed. The 64-bit, for some reason, doesn't work on my machine. It may have been that I was targeting, now that I think about it, I just realized just now that my app was targeting 32-bit, so maybe that's why it didn't work. But in any case, so now I get this page. And so I look at that, and does that look right to you? Yeah, I can verify that file against that hash, right? Yeah. So this must be good. So now I can save this file, right? It should be pretty easy. Save it into some temp directory. Oh, but it's one thing I got to do before I even get started, right? Click Properties, and you see the unblock? Make sure to click that, or your library won't work in medium trust. So all these little things that you have to remember every time you download a library from the web. So, okay, so now I'm going to extract it. So I've got the assemblies here, and I'm like, OK. So one thing I need to do is I need to put those assemblies in some directory in my solution or my project, and then I'm going to add references to it. I'll tell you where I don't want to put those assemblies. I don't want to copy them in a bin, because like most good developers, I'm not going to check bin into my source control. And when the next guy works on my project, I want them to be able to get latest from source control and build and have it working. So Elma needs to be there for them. So I right-click, add reference, find the DLL. And then with Elma, there is a little bit of configuration I need to do. So I need to register the modules. And so I need to know what bit of web.config to put in there. Now, little known secret, with the latest versions of ASP.NET MVC3 and ASP.NET Web Pages, there's a way to register HTTP modules dynamically on ASP.NET 4. So hopefully, the next version of Elma will take advantage of that. Then I don't even need to do this step. But when I wrote this, I needed to do this step. And no, yay, I finally got it working, right? There's Elma working. Now, I had to go through all those steps for one assembly, a single assembly. So what happens when I'm ready to build version 2 of my product? So this is a view of the bin folder in subtext. This is my blog engine. And you can see here I have over like 20 third-party assemblies. So am I going to go through that process for every single one of those assemblies to see if there's anything new and then incorporate them? Well, it was a royal pain to do that every single time I wanted to release. And so as we thought about it, we're like, we can do a lot better than this. We really should do a lot better than this. And with NuGet, we have done a lot better. Oh, so let me just go into demo mode here. And then I can go back to talking a little bit more about the NuGet project. So the first thing I want to show, which I always like to show when I'm demoing this, is how easy it is to get NuGet. So I'm on a machine here that doesn't have NuGet installed yet. Oh, yeah. It helps if I show my screen, right? OK, I'm on a machine here, and I'm going to go to the Tools Extension Manager. So this is the Visual Studio Extension Manager. Oh, thank you. And this is the place to get really cool extensions to Visual Studio itself to increase its muchas gracias. To add new functionality to Visual Studio itself. And so we launch this. I click on the online gallery. And then I can just type in NuGet and find it. But actually today, if I don't type in anything and just click the online gallery, you can see that we're on the first page. So that means we're getting pretty popular now. So it's even easier than before. Before you had to type NuGet. Now you just go to the first page, click on NuGet, click download. And now this is going to download and install NuGet onto my machine. In the future, we hope to have NuGet integrated as part of the next version of Visual Studio so that you don't even have to go through this step. It'll just be there. But today, this is the step you have to go. So usually when I do this demo, oh, actually, that wasn't so bad. I'm on a pretty high bandwidth connection, so I just want to see. There we go. So now, because I installed this extension, I do need to restart Visual Studio. But this is going to add two new things to Visual Studio. A right-click Add Package dialog and a console. And there's two different ways to interact with NuGet, and I'll show you one and then the other. So let's go back to MVC application 17. And by the way, this application here is the one I've been using all day long, so it still has some of our stuff. So in this application, we have the jugador. But the jugador is not stored in a database. So wouldn't it be cool if we could just easily store the person in the database? So what I'll do here is I'll right-click here on References, and you can see here I have this Add Library Package Reference. So earlier, Drew showed this dialog, but I'll kind of talk more through what's going on. So once again, you have to click the Online tab. And the reason we make you click on the Online tab, in case you're wondering, since I have to kill some time while it goes online, is we want to make sure that you know that you're actually making a request to some website before you actually make the request.